We on? Yeah. Yeah, we're on. Look at that. What's up? How we doing? How's everybody been? Long time no see. I know. What's going on, you guys? Oh, actually, hold on. What's going on, you guys? How we doing? God, have I missed being like this. Camera in front of me, lights, a new truck, the studio, which has had some serious improvements done over the past couple of months. Some of you guys have been following along on my Facebook and Instagram feed. So you kind of have an idea of what's been going on. But yeah, it's been very busy. It has definitely been very busy. We are back. I have a full list of videos I'm going to be working on here throughout 2020. And we will do our very best to make weekly videos, as I always have. It's definitely going to be a challenge, but we're going to make it happen. I promise you that. All right. So now that we got that little introduction beginning part out of the way, today we are going to be getting into the unboxing of the Axial SCX10 II Unimog 6x6. Yes, I finally picked up my very own 6x6 truck. And I am so excited for this because I've been wanting a 6x6 for as long as I could remember, pretty much ever since I saw people custom making them years ago. Decided after doing some thinking, mostly because of price point on this, I decided to go with the Axial SCX10 II version versus the Traxxas version, just again because of price point. This was a little bit cheaper and more in my budget and would allow me to be able to do more upgrades to it than if I went with the Traxxas 6x6. However, the Traxxas 6x6, does look like a fantastic vehicle. I have not had the chance to operate it. I have seen it. It looks incredible. But for now, this is what we're going to be using. Maybe in the future, we'll take a look at the Traxxas one. We'll see. But nonetheless, let's get into today's unboxing. I have my coffee. It is freezing down here in the studio. I have no heat down here. So let's just get on with it, shall we? All right, so as I mentioned, this is the Axial SCX10 II Unimog 10 6x6 1/10 scale electric ready to run. So it does come with everything that you need except for batteries, obviously. You will need batteries for the transmitter and batteries for the truck, but we'll get into what you'll need here in a few minutes. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest. This is my first Axial truck since Horizon Hobby took them over. So it is a little weird for me to actually see Horizon Hobby on the side of the box. I think it's, which side is it? Which side? Yeah. So if I do this, right? That's so weird. Seeing the Horizon Hobby on it. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's cool. I'm glad Horizon Hobby took Axial over and continued on doing what Axial does. But it's just weird to see that because I'm so used to the old original boxes just having Axial imprinted everywhere on them. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to point that out. First truck since Horizon Hobby took him over. So a quick little overview of what's on the box here, and then we'll get into opening it and we'll go into more detail about everything that's on the truck. Comes with your Spectrum STX2 transmitter, the AE5L ESC with drag brake, a Spectrum S605 servo, and the Spectrum SRX200 receiver. Now, quick little mention. I'm already told ahead of time by my good buddy Brett, who has this exact same truck, that the stock servo sucks in it. While it does have a lot of torque, it is an analog steering servo and it has plastic gears in it. So I'm going to tell you right now that that's probably going to be the very first thing I swap out of this truck. Let's take a look here. Dimensions. I like telling this because everybody likes this. Length is 23 inches, width is 9.1 inches, height is 9.6 inches, wheelbase is 17.3, and the weight of it is actually 5.5 pounds. So, let's get right into unboxing it. I'm going to move the camera to my new overhead mount system that I got. You guys are going to find this friggin' awesome. And let's get into it. All right. Got my X-Acto knife. We are ready to go. Real quick, yes, as you guys are seeing, well, from the camera's perspective, is that this is the new overhead camera jig setup, ghetto rigged, that I've put in here. The cool part about this is it's all hooked onto a slider with an arm, and I can move this all over the place at different angles and whatnot. So over the course of a couple of videos, you guys are going to see different angles, different looks and stuff while I try out some different things and see what works and what doesn't. So today I figured I'd try this angle to see if this works out well for unboxings and similar stuff like that. But let's get back into this. Let's open it up. Yes, by the way, I have already opened the box a little bit. I did put some tape on it just to keep things closed for the purpose of the video. But a little tip, I already opened this. I already looked. And the box is empty. So the box can go over here. We have our goodies here. And we have our 6x6, all pretty in the box, looking amazing. All right, yeah, let's get her out of the cardboard, shall we? Oh, baby, look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Thing's huge. Honestly, it's long as hell. It's literally, it goes just past my elbow. I mean, this thing is beautiful looking. But before we get into the truck, let's look at some of the accessories, right? Or the stuff that actually comes with it. Now in this bag, looks like we got spare parts. Got what looks like a steering wheel. And a whole bunch of other goodies in here. Track thingies. Gates. Track gates. Haha, knew I'd get it. It's been a little while, bear with me. All right, and then we got some spare parts. Looks like some bumper mounts, axles. We got some rod ends, some plastic nuts. Looks like shock spacers, shock replacement parts. That's it. That's all they gave me for the axles. We got, looks like scale gas tanks, some more replacement parts. Got the bull horns. We got a shovel. Oop, yeah, got a scale shovel in here. You guys can see that. Fire extinguisher and an axe on this one. So we got a few little goodies we can throw in this, right? Next, we have our paperwork, which comes with a small little thing of stickers, some Axial stickers, Unimog 6x6, looks like a license plate, and looks like maybe latch looking stickers of some sort. We have our instructions booklet or instructions manual. Shows you how to do everything, what everything is. The STX10 transmitter. Pretty basic transmitter. Looks exactly like the Spectrum transmitters. Looks very similar to it. Spectrum logo. You have your throttle rate, your steering rate, your throttle trim, steering trim, reverse buttons, throttle 50, 70, and 100 limit. That's cool. That's actually new. That's something that I haven't really seen on most ready-to-runs is the throttle limit selector on here. That's interesting. Steering feels good. Nice spring in here. It's tight. Feels solid. Same with throttle. Feels exactly like a Spectrum transmitter, although it is definitely a lot lighter, a lot more plasticky feel. 4 AA batteries. And that's pretty much all I can say about the transmitter. All right, guys, so here she sits in her pride and glory. I'm beyond excited for this. You know, as I mentioned, this is my first 6x6 crawler. So I'm excited to see what this thing's going to really become, since I'm going to kind of turn this into my flagship vehicle for a while, right? Because when I first started RC Overload, I had the original Axial SCX10. As you guys all well know, the blue Jeep there, that thing I had done up to the hills and back. Now it's time for me to redo that again on a new vehicle, so I'm kind of focusing my attention on this for a little bit. We'll see what happens of it. I got some cool ideas that we're going to try. But anyways, so the Unimog 6x6, right? We have a 2-piece body design here. We have the front half and the rear bed. Both can be disassembled off of each other. You can replace just the front and you can replace the back. I've seen some guys do some crazy things with these. I'm kind of thinking I might change the front half to the Proline Power Wagon body. We'll see. Kind of got some ideas going with that, so we'll see. But needless to say, the Unimog body does look fantastic on here. Has a lot of scale details already built into this. We have the scale mirrors. We have the scale snorkel on this passenger side. Scale wiper blades. Got the back rack along with the spare tire back here. I mean, everything about this looks incredible. They've even added LED lights into this. Working front LED lights, working front bumper LED lights. Actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. The LED light housings in the body do not have LED lights in them. It's just on the front bumper here. We do have an opening to put a scale winch. So that'll be something I'm definitely going to do. On the back half, we do have the scale LED brake lights. These do work. They have wires that go to them directly. And honestly, it looks fantastic. It really does. In person, it looks so much better than on pictures. In order to get the body off for us to take a look at what's going on inside, there's 2 body clips right on the front underneath, right behind the front bumper. Flip it over and I'll show you guys. So right here we have our 2 body clips, again, right behind the rear bumper. Pull them out. Flip it back over, and the body swivels up from the back. Just like that. Now you will need quite a bit of room because the body does fold all the way back down, pretty much to the back. It is hitting on the rear tires, so that's kind of what's stopping it. But for the most part, it is kind of touching the ground, so it does lay completely out. I may create some kind of stopping system to hold it in place like this. So for smaller areas I can work instead of having the body extend out all the way this far. Got twice the length of the vehicle here. Regardless, that's minor. That's minor. Looking at the truck itself, it is a very basic setup. I mean, it is an Axial SCX10 II with extended frame rails on it. Literally just connected up using the link attachment to the frame here for the rear axle. That's it. That's all that's holding this thing on to give it the extra length it needs. Now let's talk real quick here a little bit about the electronics that are in this truck that come with it. Now you do have a 35 turned brushed motor. I've been very happy with 35 turn brush motors on all my crawlers. It's a nice, comfortable, middle of the road setup. You got plenty of torque, plenty of speed. If you were to go up to a 45, you'd have more torque and low end crawling ability. Or if you went to, like, say, a 27 turn, you'd have much more speed. 35 is a nice, comfortable ground. So I'm happy that they put a 35 turn in this. I think it's going to do very well with this setup. We'll see as we add more weight and stuff like that how well it's gonna work. But we'll get there when the time comes. Next, we have our transmission, which is the same style transmission that you guys would find on the ready-to-run Axial SCX10 IIs. Same transmission that's also in the original Axial SCX10s. This goes way back. There's not much change in it other than overall looks of the case itself. Now, inside of it is all internal metal gears. So it's nice and sturdy inside of there. There's no plastic for, chance for anything to break. The ESC, as I had mentioned, is the AE5L with the drag brake option built in. Now, the cool part about this, which keeps it very simple for pretty much everybody, is they have these little tabs here on the front, which allow you to switch it from either LiPo to NIM mode just by pulling the tab out and moving it over a pin. As well as you can also switch the drag brake option, again, using the other tab. Right on the front, they have a label that'll tell you exactly what does what in what position for you to make things a little bit easier. Now, this does come with the IC3 plug, so you will need to make sure the battery that you're running has that plug in order to run it. You could always cut it off and replace it with the plug type that you use, but this is what it comes with. Now, the ESC is also waterproof, or I should, as saying to everybody, it is water resistant. Don't rely on it being 100% waterproof. Sometimes things happen. Sometimes it might not be perfectly sealed and you can fry your ESC. So I like to say, just out of caution, they're waterproof, they're water resistant. But according to the box, it is waterproof. Inside the little box in front of it is the receiver. It is a 2-channel receiver. Good enough for right now for a stock setup like what we have here. Nothing fancy. We will be looking at probably going higher to maybe a 4-channel or something, depending on the lights and all the other accessories that I want to put onto it. But for now, the 2-channel will work just fine. Next, we have the on-chassis steering servo, which is, as I mentioned, a basic steering servo. It's an analog steering servo. It's not the greatest like digital. Digital is a more precise movement. Analog, you could have a little bit of play in it. What also kind of makes it worse on this steering servo is that they're using all plastic gears and nylon gears. It's not a very sturdy steering servo, but it does have a decent amount of torque in it, at least to get you going. It has 161 ounces of torque it can provide, which is good enough for the plastic wheels and basic tires that we're running here. However, I don't know how long the internal gears are going to last. Probably a run or two, maybe a little more, depending on how much we abuse it. We'll see when we get there. Right beside it is your battery tray. Now, this will allow for a full-size battery option up to, I believe, 7,500 milliamps will fit in this. I usually typically run nothing more than 5,000. I don't have a need on crawlers to go higher than 5,000. I get a pretty decent run time out of it. I've gotten some of my crawlers up to almost 2.5, 3 hours, and the battery still didn't quite quit. It was on the verge of quitting when I got home and tested it, but I've gone pretty long and I don't need to go longer than that. So I run a 5,000 milliamp 2S Lipo battery in most of my crawlers. That works well. However, this ESC will allow a 3S Lipo battery. So if you got 3S Lipos, you can throw those in there also. Now, moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about the steering and suspension. Now, this does have the typical stock Axial Shocks on here. They're nothing fancy, but again, it works for ready to run out of the box. Typically, these shocks usually leak a little bit because of the plastic caps that are on here don't tend to seal right. However, I'll be the first one to say that this truck doesn't have a single leak on it. I'm wondering if there's even oil in them. Or maybe they've just improved the design since the last time I've had a truck. And I mean, hey, it is, as long as they don't leak, I'm happy. But those will also be getting changed out here at a later date to something that performs a little bit better. But overall, you can see it's a nice smooth suspension. There's really no binding. I mean, a little tight in the rear, nice and soft in the front, but it's something we can play around with. Maybe, different spring rates or something like that. Can experiment later on. Linkage that holds, you have your links here. These are pretty basic, typical Axial links, nothing fancy about them. They are thin looking. I may look into upgrading these to something a little bit thicker, although they seem to do pretty well on most of the trucks. I haven't heard too many people complain about them. But, it's something we might look into upgrading and improving later on, especially if we add a lot more torque and a lot more weight. I want to make sure that those are nice and secure, maybe even get some metal rod ends to it. Now, as you can see, each axle does move independently. You have your rear one that moves independently, the middle one that moves independently, and obviously the front, which has a panhard bar setup on it as well. Now, real quick, talking about the drivetrain of things other than the transmission, which we've already gone into. As I mentioned before, the axles themselves have helical cut metal gears. The ring and pinion is all one piece to help, for durability purposes. From my understanding, it works really well. Not too many people have blown out the gears in these unless you're overpowering like my buddy Brett on 3S. He has this exact same truck and just the other day told me he blew out the drivetrain gears in it on 3S. Just doing a little too much. But on 2S, shouldn't be a problem whatsoever. Now the front does have the AR44 universal axle set, so it does allow it to have a 45-degree turning angle in it for very sharp turns, which again is why I want to look into in the future having all-wheel steering in this, so that way I can match the rears to the front. That would be pretty cool. Now overall, I am quite impressed by this truck. I mean, the plastic on it seems pretty solid on it. It's not the cheap plastic. You know, you got some durability in there. Always been impressed with that. And like I said, the truck is amazing, honestly, out of the box, other than the steering servo. But real quick, talking about the tires, because that's something I haven't mentioned yet. The tires themselves are called an MT45. Now, these are just your stock tires, nothing fancy, but they do seem to provide a lot of grip. They got some big lugs on there, should be able to grab pretty much anything. For being a stock tire, I'm actually quite impressed at the quality of the rubber that they're using. Typically, most ready-to-runs will have a cheap tire on there that will do all right, but it's something that most people will want to consider upgrading right away. These tires, on the other hand, seem to do pretty well. We'll see how well it works on the next time I take it out and see what it can and can't do. Okay, so that pretty much wraps it up for the unboxing and a quick little overview of the truck. Very excited about it. Honestly, quite impressed by the overall quality of the truck. I think it's going to do pretty well. I really do think it's going to do pretty well out on the trail, and I'm excited to see how a 6x6 works on the trail, right? I mean, you can watch videos, you can look at them, you can watch other people driving them and stuff like that, but it's totally different when you actually get your hands on the transmitter and you're the one doing all the controlling. So, I'm excited. Now that I've attempted to make this video like 5 different times because it's been so long since I've made a video that I kept screwing it up. This was the first video, so any little screw ups, just forget them. I gotta get back used to being I gotta get used to you know, making videos again and talking on camera and so forth like that. So, you know, that'll all come back. That'll all come back. This first video back, so just bear with me. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the Unimog 6x6 from Axial. I am, as I said, beyond excited for it. We're gonna try to hit the trail here next week and see what this thing really can do. So that's it from me today, you guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys like this video, please give it a like. Feel free to share it if you want with your friends who might be interested in this truck. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. We're going to try to do weekly videos as best as possible. Some videos might just take a little bit longer to produce. So, you know, we'll do our very best. Also, you guys, if you want to catch me nightly from Sunday through Thursday, 9:30 to 12:30 Eastern time, I now do Facebook gaming live streams. So if you guys want to come hang out, chat, maybe talk about some RC stuff, feel free to do so. I'll put the link down in the description for you guys to check out. It's just something I'm doing a little bit here and there on the side. Fun, late at night, something to do. So, anyways, you guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on the next RC Overload. Peace!